What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a good week. We're going to jump right in the charts and show you guys something new, something that I really like. Let's just jump right into the charts. We're going to be looking at the new Qgrid, and you can see Qgrid right here on the chart, right? And let's make it so you guys can see the time frame of this as well. So let me move this up just a little bit. Just fit it so we can see the time on the bottom of the screen here. There we go. All right. So this is it. So Qgrid is it's a new indicator, right? And I think it's really good for passing evaluations. This is kind of gets into like what's good for passing evaluations relatively quickly and relatively safely. I think you would have a high win rate by doing it this way. And I really like this for specifically ones like Top Step, where, you know, it's a little bit harder to pass the evaluations. I've had a lot of success using this indicator to pass challenges on Top Step recently. That's kind of what I've been testing it out the most on. And I have, if you haven't seen in the Discord channel, I have been posting a lot of my screenshots recently have been coming from Top Step, and I already have some funded accounts up on Top Step. I was actually trading one of the funded accounts today. Not necessarily following every single Qgrid sign, right? But well, let's see. I wanted to show the screenshot of my trade today. I did take a screenshot. I did post it. Here it is. Let's go into. Let's just hop into the main screen really quick so you guys can see it. So that was a beautiful trade. Got it off this level. Literally, that is my stop right there. That was my stop after we pushed back up. I got in at this level and I just let it go. And so $170 risk. My target was 2,460. So a crazy win to reward ratio there. Yeah, I was able to kind of get that back on the pullback today, right? Using my own Qgrid settings. I'm messing with it a little bit, but I mean, that's the idea, is to you're entering in a long on a pullback. That's the whole kind of concept of this. But we'll jump back to the Renko charts really quick. So you can see today where it gives you bulls and bears, right? Bulls and bear signals, right? Now, I have found that buying on the initial bull signal or the initial bear signal is that's not what I'm doing. I am only buying on the actual pullbacks themselves. So once we have a pullback, right, and we start to push back down, we get a little bear signal, right? Once we we push back up and we pull back down, we get a little bear signal. But notice how this one did not work out. This one would have stopped you out. Like, so this kind of gets into like, I wouldn't just use this, right? I would still be paying attention to the 15 minutes, right? But after the morning, say first 15 minutes, the way that if I was just looking at this, I would ignore the first 15 minutes, right? I'd be looking for a 15-minute kind of breakout of that range, right? And then I would be looking for the pullback. So if you did that this morning, right, 9:30, wait 15 minutes, so now you're in 9:45, and I would be waiting for a pullback. I might have taken that trade, I might have lost that trade, right? But the idea is, like, once you get into a trade, you're taking this first one, right? Then you're stacking in a contract here. Then you're stacking in another contract here, right? And then you're stacking in another contract here. Then you're stacking another contract here, right? And this is why I say it's good for evaluations, because, once you're all the way up here and you're 5 contracts in, you have more than enough money to pass most of the evaluations out there. You can do this on Apex as well, but you have to be careful about the new DCA rule, right? Because say if you entered on this candle right here, right? Say if you entered on this candle here, right? And then you get this pullback and we start getting this pushback up. that's good, right? But now your average is going to be here. So if you're below this line, you're negative. We get this pullback, and then we get this next signal. And basically you want to wait till you're in profit to add to this position. So you're adding to a winning position and not adding to a losing position. So you don't fall in that, that dollar cost average issue over on Apex. Yeah, I mean, this is it has been honestly fantastic. And this also gets you out of the habit. I feel like for the traders out there that are having a hard time, like, where they find themselves shorting up here, right? Shorting, like constantly trying to find the falling knife, right? I think this gets you out of that bad habit, right? Even when we're all the way up here, right? And we start consolidating, right? On this push, you could get out for a lot of profit, right? But then we finally get the bear. Now we're looking for that push up and then the continuation. And then that's when you get in. So I think it's a really great indicator for passing evaluations quickly. And I think this will work nicely on automation as well. I haven't fully tested it on automation yet, but it's like, especially recently, man, some of these days where it's like, we get in on what was this, Tuesday last week, where it's like, if you got in on this and you got in on this pullback, okay, you'd be a little bit losing, you'd get in again. See, this is where you'd be adding to a loser, right? Then we would be coming back up, pulling back, we'd be adding here again. And the question is, would you be in profit by that third add? Because again, you have to be careful when you're adding on Apex. But man, if you got in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 contracts in this move here, man, you would have been, that would have been so much money. And so you can see as you're pushing down how it just keeps on adding contracts. It is incredibly nice. And actually, even I'll tell you what I like to do, and I'll show you one of my custom settings for this, has been turning off all the signals, right? And just using this as a bias, so I don't take trades against it. I know that sounds weird, and in chop days, it's not going to look that pretty, but in trend days like we had today, right? It's like, okay, if you're only looking for longs from here to here, right? I mean, this is telling you only look for longs from this point, right? So every pullback that we have, take a long. Every pullback that we have, take a long. Pullback consolidation, take longs. Pullbacks, take longs. Longs, right? Until we get into consolidation like that, right? I mean, it's just, I really, really like it. It's really golden. And you can see, again, today, let's see, I got in that trade around like 10 something. It was, I'll turn back on this so we can see what pullback that actually was that I got in on. It was before this rip. So it was this pull down right here. I got long here. I was long here, right? And I went long for 2 contracts. And you can see that you saw that in the beginning of the video. I was long for 2 contracts. Yeah, we went up, we pushed back down, and then we eventually had to move higher. I wish that was a Top Step account, that's an Express account, so I don't have the ability to yet take 5 contracts. I only can take 2 contracts max right now. If once you have an account where you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contracts long, or just using this on micros, I honestly think that if you use this on micros, 1 micro per dot, right? I think that you can pass an evaluation within a day, maybe 2, pretty easily, I think. Again, especially if we get like some ripping days, and do it relatively safely. That's the big thing with this. And this is kind of like the opposite of DCA, right? This is like you're trying to add to your winners as much as you can. And not a lot of people do that. A lot of people get very nervous. A lot of people, especially if you're from a scalping background like I am, right? Where, you don't hold your trades that long, right? I mean, I took 2 contracts today, got out what I thought was at a pretty decent level, right? I got out at a pretty decent level, but it just kept on ripping way higher today, right? I mean, today on the 15 minutes, right? I got out at I got out right there. This is where I got out this morning. 11 a.m., double highs. We consolidated here for a little bit, and I got out. That was a $2,400 trade. If I would have held it to this point, that would have been another $2,000. If I would have held it up here, this would have been like $5,000. Or no, $7,000, almost $7,000 if I would have held it. In hindsight, I probably should have just taken one off and let one run. But honestly, I didn't think that we were going to push that high. I didn't think that we were going to just, keep on making all-time highs, but that's why I say it's like, all-time high is like rocket fuel to go higher. Like it really is. Like, and there's no telling when it's going to stop. So it's really dangerous shorting all-time highs, right? Especially when in markets like this. But I mean, you can see, we'll go back to the Renko charts really quick. Like, look at this day on the 5th. Like, look at this. You get the Q bull signal. Look at these ads. Look at that ad. Boom. Look at this 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 ad. Boom. It's like every single one of these, but you can see how you could end up passing an evaluation very quickly, right? I mean, we're talking, you're adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contracts, and eventually you'll get to a point relatively quickly with this system where you're $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 up on the day, depending on what type of evaluation you're doing and the consistency rules, right? Make sure that you're getting out of those, right? But I've had a lot of success with passing evaluations with this setup. I highly, highly recommend people look into using this for evaluations. If you are, say doing a 25K account or 25K account, probably don't use 4 NQ contracts. Probably just go to micros, and I almost can guarantee you that you'll pass. Not maybe. I mean, there are days though. I will say this, that there are days though, right? Like Wednesday last week, where it's like, look how sideways Wednesday is. Like, this is super sideways, right? And it might have been, and you can see it switches from bulls to bears constantly. This day would not have passed an evaluation. This day, I don't know how much you would have lost, but on an evaluation, if you're over leveraged on a day like this, you just go and wipe out that account. This comes down to like, don't over leverage, be consistent. And I think, this is, again, a great tool to use to pass evaluations relatively quickly, easily, and you don't really have to think much about it, So that's it for this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Also, make sure that you check out our Discord, where we're always announcing new indicators and new things. We actually just added a new thing called Trade Connector or Trade Connect. And Trade Connect is basically not prop firm automation, is automation for your own personal account. And that's it's really awesome. It's relatively cheaper, right? And it's a good, I've been automating on my personal accounts for the better part of like 2 years now. And soon we'll have like full tutorials on how to do it, getting everybody set up, getting, the API access on Tradingview's site is like $25 a month. And then there's different tiers that you can get in the Trade Connect side of it. But that's it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.